Welcome to the Wellness and Beyond podcast, where we explore the challenges and opportunities facing the health and wellness industry today. Today, I'm joined by Ian Crocker, the director of the Distance Learning College that preserves and expands the unique holistic teachings of Dr. Lawrence Plaskett. His college offers a comprehensive range of accredited nutrition and health courses, including diplomas in nutritional therapy and iridology.
Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you for inviting me to come and talk today. Excited to talk with you and just sort of explore the remit that you sort of said in just sort of exploring, AI in this space, really.
Let's start at the beginning. What inspired you to start your college?
It was more being invited to take it over from Lawrence Plaskett when he retired from teaching, really. So at the time, I was working with him as his personal trainer, and he kind of realized that I was into computers, so I knew my way around the internet at the time. And this was in 2003, 2004. And he sort of invited me to come in with my remit to go and find overseas licensees to continue his teachings. So I said yes to that offer, and then found myself here sort of 20 odd years later, completely different. We sort of now deal directly with students, as well as overseas sort of licensees of the courses.
What would you say makes Dr. Plaskett's teachings unique?
Just to his unique exposure to how he came across naturopathic health. So he was a scientist by trade, I suppose. He basically worked in the nutrition industry. And then when he sort of had a health situation, he then investigated alternative methods of healing. But being a scientist, he investigated the modalities. Started off with sort of Chinese acupuncture, and he had to prove to himself the the modalities and how scientifically rigorous they were. And he found, the literature was there to support his research. And that's what led him down a path of creating sort of nutritional therapy and basically put together a range of supplementations to support his approach. And that's how basically he discovered and created nutritional therapy in his way.
What would you say has been your biggest success thus far in your business?
In the business, just sort of continuing with his legacy, really, just sort of continuing with his work to actively support other students in following his path and realizing that he was before his time. A lot of his findings, his writings are coming out now that you find sort of new research on the microbiome, and you think,
Uh-huh.
yeah, he wrote about this 30 years ago. He was ahead of his time,
Exactly.
really. Um,
Everybody's talking about it now.
So it's the realization that it's true now as it was when he wrote it.
Expand a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's just the realization that the truism of his work and just his life work was, in his teachings, and they're supportive on so many levels.
And are there any prerequisites for the enrollment?
No, just a passion to learn and understand. Sort of, obviously, it's a science-based course. There's sort of scientific rigor within the course themselves, and that can put people off. But it has context, so it's learning with sort of contextual awareness of nutrition and health.
Yeah.
Very often Lawrence would sort of talk about people. He would invite people in to sort of give talks on anatomy and physiology, and it would be a very sort of dry, uninspiring subject. And yet, when he taught it, it had the sort of context of nutrition. So it brings it alive. It makes it this living thing in which you can really get to understand and know the inner workings of our bodies.
Yeah, that makes sense. What sort of challenges have you faced in your business?
Well, apart from the main challenge in getting people through the door and to enroll, it's just getting the getting out there. That's kind of the main challenge. It's sort of ongoing, but I think now we're at a completely different level. It's gone, it's people are learning in different ways, and it highlights that the course structure is a very linear course. You learn folder to folder to folder and you work through. And I think for a lot of people, it's realizing that's not how they learn, and we can learn in so many different ways. And I think with AI now, and the way that you have the facility for sort of deep research with, all the different models, all the different sort of providers of the AI chatbots, OpenAI, ChatGPT, sort of Gemini, they all have a deep research, and you can find a lot of information out in that way. And it seems to be that people are going down that route to do their own research, do their own sort of readings. And that's good in a way, because it means that we have to think of a different way in bringing our offerings to market.
It's yeah. And how do you go about acquiring new students?
Our main is through our website, and we don't have a active marketing campaign as such. We're relied on word of mouth, people finding us through previous practitioners, previous students. But kind of realised that that's now changing, and we need to basically up our game and get out there in terms of getting the knowledge up there, because people are questioning, starting to look into more naturopathic ways and realising that there are different ways in which we can help and improve our health and wellness with nutrition and supplementation.
What sort of trends are you noticing now in the industry?
In our industry, I think it's always been a case of people wanting to have a route to get a degree level course. And I think that's kind of sad in a way, and it kind of prohibits a diploma level course. Our course is a diploma.
Yeah.
Even though it's a high level course, people are sort of looking for that route into a degree, because they feel that they need a degree to practice.
Uh-huh.
And yes, that's important, but also getting into like the nitty gritty of in the weeds working. It's important that people are out there that are able to fulfill that role, fulfill that knowledge. And I think with AI coming along and the way in which people can use it, it's allowing people to go and do their own research on their own conditions. And I think that is good in one way, but bad in another, because it's a very generic question that you might ask. You get a generic answer. It's not individualized to you as an individual with your own personal makeup. And the question that you may ask, you'll get a generic answer. If you ask ChatGPT about a certain condition, write me a diet, you will get an answer, but it will be based on generic answer, knowing absolutely nothing about you.
Exactly. That is where the human element comes in.
It does. And that's kind of why I'm sort of excited with the next sort of evolution of the college, because it's something that I've really been thinking about for the last sort of year. Part of the problem is that people come and take the course and people don't finish the course because it's a long course. It's part-time. It's 3 years for the main nutritional therapy course. And it's a long time. It's a long time to sort of stay focused. And it's like, my question that I ask myself is, how can I speed up the learning process? How can I make it that people finish the course and get out there and help people to help them make a difference? And that's why I'm really excited about in what I've created with merging AI with Dr. Plaskett's work. So it's kind of been a long sort of journey in sort of researching how I could sort of facilitate that. And it started off with me creating a food tracker, just a simple food tracker. So some people track their food. There's loads of different apps that are out there. I've used them before. When I first started in nutritional therapy, I would be looking at Excel spreadsheets and taking somebody's diet and putting it through an Excel spreadsheet to get their data, so I could actually have a look at their bulk nutrients and their vitamins and minerals. So I could look at it from a nutritional therapy point of view to make sure that they're getting all the nutrients that they need. And then it changed. There's loads of different apps that are out there now that enable you to do that without going through an Excel spreadsheet. You still have to go through the database of sort of foods. It's kind of a laborious. So initially my idea was to create a system that sped that up. So I created that. So it's a food tracker that takes photos, text input or voice input, and it basically speeds it up to about 5 to 10 seconds. So there's no scrolling through endless reams of database sort of information. So that was done. And then in the process of sort of creating that, I kind of asked myself the question, what does this actually mean? When you get all the data, it's just a stream of numbers. And if you have knowledge in nutrition, you can work out what those figures mean. But for the average person who's just lost in the weeds of what they should do and sort of following the latest sort of what's good, what's bad, butter's good for you one day, butter's bad for you the next day. It's that miscommunication about what's real. And that's what I'm trying to solve with sort of the next stage of the app, which is basically layering Dr. Plaskett's work over the top of it. So it's now a nutritional tracker that gives you weekly reports based on the course material. So it's taking it to a whole new level. It's giving you the source behind the reasoning behind why you should follow a particular path in terms of what your nutritional sort of input is. And that's kind of exciting because I'm hoping that then leads to a learning. So every meal is a learning opportunity. You can have a look at your daily nutrition and ask it. So there's a chatbot feature on the app now that you can ask questions. So you can ask specific questions about your food. You can ask specific questions. What's my magnesium like for the last 4 days? And it will search the database and it will give you the answer based on your nutritional intake. So it's no longer a generic answer. It's a very specific, targeted, informative answer to your question.
Yeah, and that's amazing. That's the beauty of AI, because now they can get an answer immediately and it's specific to them, which is great. And so how else do you use AI in your day to day? In business?
That's in business, yeah. So I use AI every day really now. It's just kind of been an investigation into the benefits of it. And, I think for the last 6 months, I've been using it every day in creating the application that I've created and just trying to get into the understanding about how I can merge and marry everything together. So it's just that, and I think moving forward, it will be used because I've sort of realized that there's lots of things that you might do in normal everyday life, like using your marketing emails, that you can access those platforms through an API that you can access through AI. So it just speeds everything up. Everything is just so much quicker. You're able to access things so much quicker, and the AI can have access to your emails. It can just spot patterns so much quicker, doesn't it? And I think that's something that I've noticed with the nutritional side of it. It's spotting and recognizing patterns of deficiency that you as a human might miss because there's so much data.
And that's where the agentic AI comes in.
Yeah, it really does. And I see it, some people might say it's taking away the sort of the job of a nutritional therapist, but I don't see that because it enables me to still go out and take a case history. I still need to go and talk with a person to get the full information about their nutritional makeup, their case history, their life story. And I can only get that by talking to that person. And it's then creating that human connection again for me to then take that data, put that through the chatbot, the AI, and actually formulate a plan based on what I tell it to do, as opposed to it telling me. And I think that is only going to enhance the service of what the college can do and what then practitioners can go on to do. Because I'm not aware that there's a facility for, so the chatbot that I've created, the service that I've created is also a practitioner level service. So people can have clients on there and you can go and look at what that client's doing. And it's kind of unique from sort of that point of view.
That's actually very smart. How do you support your distance learners? Obviously, they're online. How do you support them?
Well, that's another thing that hopefully this will be a 24/7 support system. At the moment, it's reliant upon our tutors to answer their emails or to arrange a telephone call if they need something explaining. But with what I've created, they can ask a tutor, the AI tutor, which is based on the college material, a question. And it's no different to how I would then approach a question. If a student comes to me and asks me a question about a nutritional aspect, I will search and always have done, I always search the course material first. And that might be just through a PDF search, just so you get the context. Where now the student can come and ask the course material directly. And if they can ask that question, and it's also based on their own nutrition as well. So they're learning the contextual awareness of their own nutrition, their own learning, and hopefully it then sticks, and they can then use the platform to help other people, which is what my sort of plan is. It then gives them a platform to work on.
Yeah, that will be super helpful. Where do you see your college in the next 3 to 5 years?
Through the roof. I think people are becoming more and more aware. They're asking questions. They're wanting to know more. The only downside is that we are only a diploma, and it's something that people always ask, is they want that route into a degree. But, who knows where that might be in 3 to 5 years? Will universities sort of still exist?
Yeah.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. I still sort of hold on, because people still want to go down that route of that deeper level of education, which is important. Will AI completely change that landscape? It's done a lot to change the way that I learn. I don't know about yourself. It's
100%. Completely change everything.
absolutely. It's
I see
and
it
the
as a
way that
tool.
you
It's a tool.
but it's then realizing how that tool can be used, isn't it? Using it for good, and
Yeah.
using it to sort of enhance and get your word out there. Sort of things that you're sort of able to do now is just mind blowing, really. The speed
It
in
is
which things
mind-blowing.
can be done.
Especially
It's, and I say it's the whole journey of creating the app has just been one long learning experience, one that's been incredibly exciting, but incredibly frustrating.
at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. So, it's been a great chat.
Thank you.
What advice would you give to other founders in the industry today?
Good question. Is to embrace AI and not be sort of scared of it, really, is to see it and actually go with it and see it as a tool for good. Because I think the way it can enhance and make your output, but just think about ways in which it can be used. Don't follow the normal path, follow your own path, and use the AI to enhance that. I think
Okay.
that would be my sort of advice. Um,
Well, thank you for all the information and the inspiring insights. Where can people reach you?
But obviously, the moment we've got the Plaskett-international.com, our sort of website, and the app that I've created will be embedded within that. But I'm also launching the app under its own brand, which is going to be Nutritional.co.uk and Nutritional app, and that will have my own personal story to it as well, because I'm the founder of that. So it's kind of
And you spell that out for us?
yeah, Nutri. So Nutrialua, Nutriluma.
Right.
Yeah, shining the light on nutrition.
Correct. So people can follow you there.
Existent.
Good.
Okay.